Good morning, YouTube. My name is Annie, and this morning I was just going to share with you my testimony and how I came to know the Lord 6 years ago. Most of my life, from before, I guess in elementary school, very, very young, I always remember being attracted to girls. And this was an ongoing process all through my life, through adolescence and high school and all the time that I can remember. I finally acted on those desires when I was in the Navy. I was stationed in San Diego, California, and I met a girl there that I became involved with. And that was the time that you could say that I, came out of the closet. All my life, though, even though I was gay and I knew I was gay, I really believed that I was born gay, but always deep down knew that it was wrong, or that it didn't feel good, or that there was something wrong with me. Not because anybody was telling me it was wrong necessarily. I wasn't raised in a practicing Christian home. Christian by name, not really practicing, no scriptures being taught, no prayers to the Lord, nothing like that. So growing up, I just innately felt like there was something wrong with me, or I always just kind of asked God, my idea of God at the time, what's wrong with me? Why did you make me gay? That was my biggest question, because I really honestly believed that I was born gay. You cannot deny the feelings that you're having. And it's very real to you at the time. So, anyway, fast forward a little bit to, it was June of 2003. I was 23 years old, and my girlfriend and I at the time lived in an apartment in the East Bay of San Francisco, and she had brought home a Bible, and it was just sitting in our apartment at the time. And, I kind of glanced over at it throughout the course of a couple weeks and didn't really think much of it. And then one afternoon, I just decided to go over and pick it up and take a look at it. And keep in mind, I'd never really read the Bible before. I read a few things here and there when I was younger growing up that made absolutely no sense to me. I read more like stereo instructions than anything. And so I pick up the Bible and I sit down with it, and at that time it just opened to the book of Romans, where it talks about women lying with women unnaturally, and men exchanging the natural use of a woman to be with men, and how that was an abomination in the eyes of the Lord. Now when I say it just fell open, I realized that because my ex-girlfriend at the time had also been struggling pretty frequently with this, those were well-worn scriptures. So the book naturally fell open. But I believe that it was a divine appointment set at a divine time in my life when the Spirit of God was working on me. So anyway, I read the scripture, and I told her to take a look at it and read it out loud. And she wouldn't at first, and then finally got her to read it, and I just said, I don't know what to do. I said, it's very clear to me that God does not approve of the way we're living. This is not right. We cannot do this. What do we do, though? What's next? And she knew to call her grandmother. Her grandmother was a Christian, and we got on the phone with her. And I was talking to her grandmother on the phone, and there was a lot of talk about, the wide road and the narrow road, and wide is the road that leads to destruction, narrow is the road that leads to God. And I said, you know what, that sounds good. I am ready. I really want to serve the Lord. I want to obey God. That was it at the time. I want to obey God. And she said, okay, and we prayed a little prayer, and after the prayer even, I said, okay, but Lynette, her name was Lynette, I said, Lynette, I think that sounds great, but what I don't understand is why God would make me gay and then tell me in His Word that it is wrong. And she said, Annie, God did not make you gay. And I said, well, who did? And she said, it was the devil. And at that moment, at that exact moment, I was born again. I felt the Spirit of the Lord come into my heart, into my life. And all I can describe it now is like what Paul says when scales fell off his eyes. And he had spiritual understanding and revelation of the truth. And it was absolutely the truth. The devil made me gay. There'll probably be some YouTube parodies on that one, but the point is that, you know, Satan is the god of this world. The Bible is very clear that he is not yet contained and thrown into the lake of fire. He roams this earth as a roaring lion, seeking to devour whom he may. He came to kill, to steal, and to destroy the good things that God has put here on this earth, inevitably to be used to glorify Him.